Welcome to the official Colorado Sports Hall of Fame podcast. I'm Dave Plati.
And I'm Jim Saccomano. The two of us have 90 years of experience combined working in Colorado sports. Myself with the Broncos and Dave with the Buffaloes. And both of us with the old and iconic Denver Bears among our many experiences.
We have revealed 147 of 150 significant moments in Colorado sports history. The state's 150th birthday is Saturday, August 1st. The date Colorado was admitted to the Union in 1876. That's the 38th state. A veteran committee debated and then ranked the top 50 of those moments, all from over 2,000 that have been identified. Those are ranked by a committee with over 800 years combined of covering and or working in Colorado sports.
We are now up to our number 3 moment, having previously covered numbers 4 through 150. For numbers 51 through 150, we covered significant moments scattered around the state and most, if not all, sports. All are archived in the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame website with our podcast. Just go to coloradosports.org, click on the menu bar, and then top 150 moments or podcasts.
But first, here's 2 moments in Colorado sports history that weren't in those 150.
On February 7th, 1999, Colorado's 3-0 win at Dallas extended the Avalanche's record winning streak to 12 games. In outscoring the opponent 45-20 during that span, the team's record improved from 17-19-4 to 29-19-4, tied for the sixth longest in NHL history at the time, still 13th. It ended 2 nights later with a 2-1 home loss to Calgary.
And on October 6, 1995, at McNeil Sports Arena, before an overflow crowd of 16,061, the NHL officially returned to Denver, with the Colorado Avalanche winning their first game 3-2 over the Detroit Red Wings. Valerie Kamensky scored twice, including the first Avalanche goal in team history, and then the game winner with 3:53 remaining. A rivalry was instantly born that night as the teams racked up a combined 49 penalty minutes, 31 in the second period alone.
This is Mark Johnson, voice of the Colorado Buffaloes. As we count down the greatest moments in Colorado sports history, it's worth remembering that great sports moments don't just happen. They're built on preparation, resilience, and staying healthy. And in Colorado, a great sports moment can mean something different to everyone, from Hall of Fame athletes to anyone who simply wants to keep moving. Whether you're chasing championships, personal bests, or just a pain-free morning run, the team at CU Sports Medicine and Performance Center delivers exceptional sports medicine care, from prevention and recovery to performance. Founded right here in Boulder, the CU Sports Medicine and Performance Center brings together CU medicine providers and Boulder community health clinicians to provide comprehensive care that's close to home and rooted in the community they serve. Learn more at cusportsmedicinecenter.com.
And now, our countdown continues.
The number 3 greatest moment in state of Colorado sports history.
On June 10th, 1996, in their first season in Denver, the Colorado Avalanche won the Stanley Cup in a 4-game sweep of the Florida Panthers. It came in exhausting fashion as Huey Krupp's goal gave the Avs a 1-0 win in Miami in the cup-clinching game, 4:31 into the third overtime, ending the second longest scoreless game in NHL history. Patrick Roy stopped all 63 shots on goal by the Panthers in the game and 147 of 151 in the series, in which Colorado outscored Florida 15-4.
Center Joe Sakic earned the Conn Smythe Trophy as the MVP of the playoffs, as he led all players in goals, 18, and assists, 16, for 34 total points. A little over a year earlier, the Comsat Entertainment Group agreed to purchase the NHL's Quebec Nordiques for $75 million and move the team to Denver.
At this time, we'd like to welcome our guest for this podcast to reminisce about the move to Denver and the Avs' first Stanley Cup, 2013 Colorado Sports Hall of Fame inductee, and the Avs' longtime and popular defenseman, Adam Foote. Welcome to our show, Adam.
Hey guys, glad to be here.
Your 19 career in the NHL started as a 20-year-old on the Quebec Nordiques, 12 of those with Colorado. In the fourth and last year in Quebec in 1995, it finished first in the Eastern Conference, but lost in the first round to the Rangers. A disappointing playoff result, but did you feel that this team was close, just missing a few pieces?
Yeah, Rangers the previous year that they beat us, they won the cup. We were a young team that went in our first series there against a veteran group and really didn't. I remember it well. We didn't play our game. We were playing against some savvy vets, and you look at that series and you even see the following year when we did come in, what we ended up doing to Detroit when they had a hell of a season. So, and you look back and you saw Tampa Bay Lightning lose to Columbus 4 straight, and then they go on and win. It's odd how it happens, but sometimes if you don't have that experience, you can get caught in a series and not be mentally strong. And in the Rangers series, that's exactly what happened.
After those 4 years in Quebec, the team is sold to a group from Denver. The move to Denver happened so quickly. Did you have any indication the team would be sold and moved?
I didn't know. I mean, and what's crazy is the previous season. So, when we lost to the Rangers, and I remember CCM. I was wearing CCM skates, and they sent me a box of apparel, and it was our last night there in Quebec, and then we had to meet the media, and I was running a little late, so I went into the box and grabbed the T-shirt. It was a purple T-shirt, and this is a true story. And I'm like, I didn't realize what I put on, and I ran to the rink, and after we had our exit meetings, we met the media, and I remember it went across Canada that I was rubbing something in because I had a Colorado Rockies T-shirt on, and it went to the Global Mail and things like that. And I had no idea till later that day that there was speculation that we may be sold to Colorado. So that was just a big fluke what happened, but it made some good headlines. And like you said, it happened so quick. And I really enjoyed playing in Quebec because I was young and didn't have a family and things like that. And being a French province, it didn't bother me. They love their hockey, and it was a great place for me to start my career. But when I heard about Colorado, I was excited. I was a big John Elway fan. I was a big Bronco fan. I remember watching them play in some blizzards and things like that. So I was excited to get to the Rocky Mountains as well.
Yeah, aside from the T-shirt, knowing a little bit about the Broncos, what, if anything else, did you really know about the city of Denver or even the state of Colorado?
Well, what I loved is my dad was a big football fan. He liked the Vikings, and I ended up liking, obviously, Joe Montana. I liked the 49ers, but I remember watching a game one night, and Elway throws a sidearm in a blizzard, and I just loved watching them play in that snow. And then I realized later when we came that it's odd weather here, and as after 20 years, it's sunny and a lot of sunny days and stuff like that. But I didn't know much about Colorado at all, but I love the whole thing about the Rocky Mountains and the Broncos, and living this close to the mountains was something that was intriguing.
Mm-hmm. Recall the first game in Denver, a sellout plus multiple skirmishes with Detroit, which was 1 for 10 on the power play, and a late goal gives the Avs the season opening win. What was that night like?
Well, it was odd. Just our first game playing in Colorado and playing against a good hockey team, and we knew we were pretty good. I don't think we knew even towards the end of the season. I don't think we knew how good we were. But I remember being McNichols. It was a little bit dark, a different stadium compared to the Coliseum, where the Coliseum there was so bright and they're right on top of you. But the fans, what I was excited about were the fans were really excited, loud, and the odd thing though was they were, over the icings were getting announced, so we're kind of teaching the fans what just happened. I thought that was odd. I never heard that before. That's one thing I do recall, and what pops in my head, and you guys are gonna call it crazy, is we just had black helmets on with white jerseys, and I remember after a little while, I thought, okay, that's cool, and I started to like it. And then the league made us stopped doing that, and we had to go to the white helmet. So you guys are probably looking for a fight in the game. I remember.
The team had kind of a pedestrian start, opening 2-3-1, then reeled off 8 wins in a row, outscoring the foe 39-16. Was there anything special about how that streak started, or was it just a matter of things starting to click?
Yeah, probably just clicking. I mean, again, we knew. I don't know. I didn't believe or even think about a Stanley Cup at that time, but I also knew that we were just young and had a lot of speed. Hey, we had Sakic and Forsberg. You can do a lot with those two guys. At the time, we didn't have Waugh yet, so that's probably the piece that gave us a thought that we might be able to win a cup when we got him.
On December 5th, the Avs destroyed San Jose 12-2, the most goals to date by the team, and the next day, trade for Patrick Waugh. When you found out about the trade, what were you and the other players thinking?
Well, Foote was playing good. Our goalie at the time was playing really good for us. But Patrick Waugh is a proven Stanley Cup winner and the MVP. So one, I was like surprised we got him, though Pierre Lacroix was his previous agent. So, and the crazy story that happened in Montreal, how we got him was unbelievable. But he just gave us that much more confidence, towards the end of the year.
Dave?
Sorry about that. Colorado clinched the division title a few weeks before the end of the season, blowing by Calgary by some 25 points in the final standings. Detroit ran away with the President's Cup with 131 points, but the Avs held off Philadelphia and Pittsburgh for runner-up honors. As a result, the Avs drew the seventh seed Vancouver in the first round of the playoffs, but the Canucks weren't a pushover. In Game 5 in Denver, and the series tied at 2, Vancouver led 4-3 halfway through the third period. Joe Sakic saves the game and maybe the series, tying the game in 6 minutes left and scored the game winner 51 seconds into overtime. Was there any real concern at that time up until it was to heroics, or you're trailing and Vancouver's playing over their heads?
Well, I don't know if Vancouver's playing over their heads or as much as we were trying to get comfortable in the playoffs. And I think that first series was the hardest one, especially what happened the year before. And finding our confidence. We were a young group, and I think it helped with the Patrick Waugh trade, but getting a guy like Mike Keane in that trade really helped us as well. And then what I recall in the series is Sakic felt so comfortable playing against the Canucks, being from there, that he always came up with something huge when he played them. So I think it was more of we're playing probably a little bit too cautious and gave them too much respect. It wasn't what they did to us as much as what we didn't do or play up to our capabilities.
Sakic then scored the game winner 2 nights later in Vancouver, and it's on to the conference semifinals against Chicago. Many thought that was the best series in the second round. 4 overtime games, including a triple OT win in Game 4 to even the series, and a double OT win in Game 6 to win it. What sticks out about that series, and how exhausting was it?
Well, I think it was one of the best series, not just the second round, but the entire playoffs. Chicago was for real. I mean, Chelios was running high, and I remember he got hurt, and who knows what would happen if he didn't. He was playing that well, that good, and Amante got hurt in the series as well. But that's what happens is guys get picked off as you keep going, and those overtimes were something else. I remember a little guy for Chicago named Kriv Krasov. I think he coached here for a long time. I know he coached here for a long time. You thought but he was pretty significant in that series for Chicago. But it was we played a team that easily could have won the Stanley Cup, and Chicago gave us everything.
Now it's on to Detroit in the conference finals. But you did get 6 days rest after St. Louis took the Red Wings to 7 games. Another overtime affair with time winding down in the first extra session. Mike Keane scores the game winner, and 2 nights later, Patrick Waugh stops 35 shots in a 3-0 win. Detroit was historically kind of more of a regular season team, and you went to the Motor City and won both games. Talk about the confidence of the team to do that, especially against the team that won the President's Trophy.
Yeah, I think we picked up confidence, as the series went. We didn't play great against Vancouver, and then we go in and had a hell of a series. It was a war against Chicago. I think the rest was huge. St. Louis taking Detroit to 7, but maybe Detroit was in a spot where they were going through what we went through the previous year against the Rangers, where we didn't beat the Rangers. I think we went in with nothing to lose and feeling good about ourselves, and we were confident.
Back to Detroit, up 3-2. Claude Lemieux hits on Chris Draper. Forget about the ramifications. You being a key member of the penalty kill unit, talk about having to kill the 5-minute major, knowing the Cup final was so close.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. You think of all the big games. I remember it clearly, but you just get yourself in that zone. You never know what's coming, and you just almost become robotic. Not me. I mean, our whole team. Our team was ready for whatever we had to face. In hockey, it's funny. You can't take the human side out of it. Where if you're up 2-0 or 3-0 going into the third period, it's almost automatic within the first 3 minutes the other team's getting a power play. And I'm not saying that happened in this case, but my point is we're probably ready for anything and everything. That's what our coaches get us ready for. Years prior, get you ready for to be a pro hockey player. And I'm speaking as our group, as our team. We had a pretty good, solid team there with good leadership. Mike Keane being a significant penalty kill guy and a good one would have locked us down as far as our mindset. If we were, we relished that penalty kill, and obviously with Waugh behind you, and two, the Lemieux hit. There's reasons why those things happen. We wanted to kill that penalty off for him and to win a cup.
So the Avs go ahead and win that one 4-1. Now the Stanley Cup Finals. Florida was the fourth best team in the East, and the Avs win first 2 in Denver, 3-1, then 8-1. Game 3 in Florida, where the Panthers take a 2-1 lead. Legend says that Patrick Waugh told everyone after the first period, "You won't see another rat in the series," and you didn't. What was he talking about? And give us a little history on the rat.
Well, I'll go back before the rat and tell you what. When we found out we were playing Florida, no disrespect to them, but they took down Pittsburgh, which we felt was a hell of a team, and they were able to knock off the favorite there. So it gave us going into Florida, especially playing them. You don't know where you're getting the first 2 games at home, and then the second game when we beat them, I think you said it was 8-1, and Forsberg was on fire that game, and we just going back to Florida. We were. I could feel we were really confident that we were gonna, the numbers were it was in our favor to win a Stanley Cup. Like I thought we're in real good shape here. It was the most comfortable I felt throughout the whole playoffs. And then when we get to the Rats, is playing on their home ice. I guess them being the Panthers, and someone threw a rubber rat on it. All of a sudden, when they scored goals in the playoffs, there's thousands of rats coming on the ice. These rubber rats, all different sizes, and whipping around. It was unbelievable to see live. And I think what Patrick meant was, after that first game, there wasn't going to be another goal in the series. And it's funny that after he said that, there wasn't another goal. But I thought what was more impressive was,
Well, he went 140 minutes.
you see goalies in previous. Yeah, you see goalies on other teams' previous series when a goal went in, they would duck under, the net so they wouldn't get hit by the rubber rats. Where just typical Waugh, he stands straight up with his head pointed up and his chin facing up, getting pegged off. A couple hit him in the head, and he didn't even budge. And I think that was what I remember most. Going, all right, we're good. It just reminds me there's pivotal points and going to the 2001 when Joe reversed hit Stevens. That's when I went, oh, we're in good shape here. And the moment Waugh was standing there, I started giggling myself. This guy's just a machine. He's going to be a wall, and you could feel it more than what he said to the team. I felt that was more of a powerful impact that he didn't duck in under the net.
Mm-hmm. Avs are in the catbird seat of 3-0. The Panthers didn't go down easy. Game 4 is scoreless going into triple OT. At that point, you've helped kill 8 Florida power play opportunities. Describe the feeling when Uwe Krupp scored, giving the Avs the win and the cup.
You said it, we had to kill 8 penalties, but Florida being down 3-0, you can't take the human side out of it. I mean, how do they get 8 power plays? Who knows? But that's where we're just being a machine. Though it was going into 3 overtimes, we were just so disciplined, and that's where our great leadership came into play. If you're going to win, you have to have good leadership. We had a ton of it across the board, and we weren't pressing for a goal just to press for a goal. And you got some great goal scorers on our team, some high skill, but it just shows you how savvy and smart they were just to play this thing out, going, we're not losing this battle, we're winning the war. And it was just a matter of time. And I remember the goal clearly. Huey he had a seeing eye dog, a slight screen, and Huey had as a big man he is, he had a very deceptive, hard, it didn't look hard, but it was coming, it was zinging, the wrist shot. And it was a place shot. He knew what he was doing there, and he was hoping it would get through. But there you have it, the first championship in Colorado.
Tradition has it that everyone gets the cup for a day in the off season. What did you do with it when it was your turn?
When I got the cup for a day, I went golfing with my closest friends and our families, and then we had a barbecue with it down at the marina, and it was just awesome to drink out of a Stanley Cup with your family and celebrate it with your friends. And I mean, I think I had 8 or 9 guys from my hockey team when I was 6 years old. So it was cool to bring it back to my hometown and celebrate with my family and friends.
Are you familiar with Ralphie the Buffalo for CU that leads the team out on the field?
Yeah, I am.
Brendan McNeilis brought the cup up to CU after the Avs won in 22, and Ralphie was doing a training run. Well, we brought the cup down to take a picture with the handlers. One of the handlers put some grain in the cup, and we have a photo of Ralphie munching on grain out of the Stanley Cup.
Oh, that is so cool. You know what? I remember that my first Buffs game, I went up there to Boulder. I couldn't believe how beautiful it was. And they're playing, I think it was there, maybe it was Mile High when they played the Rams. They played the Rams, and the Buffalo comes out on the field, and they're running with it, right? They're handlers. And I remember the Ram tripped one of the handlers of the other team. I went, oh, that's not a good start. I'll never forget that.
That would have been at Mile High, yes.
Yeah.
Last question. You were also on the 2001 team that won the cup. Which one was more special?
That's a tough. I don't know. They're both special. They both have their moments. Stanley Cup's so hard to win. So many things have to go right, and I'd say for the people of Colorado, I have to say the first one's got to be the most special, just because it's their first championship in the state. I think they were so hard to win, but for me, with Ray Bork and the injuries we had in that run, and then being down 3 games. What were we down 3-2, or I think we were down 3-2. I had to go in and win in Jersey and come back, bring it home and win. I think just because Jersey was probably the hardest opponent, them in Chicago, then Detroit series. I think it was a hard series. They were really good, and Brodeur was good. So I'd say the second cup for me, just to see Ray, the emotion, and when we saw Ray hoist it in, the Pepsi Center. If I could, every time I think about that cup run, I think about Joe passing it to him and then him hoisting it. And I think of you feel the emotion of the fans, like, holy geez, I think a lot of people were crying. And to feel that energy in a stadium was incredible.
And so we got a couple more questions. What did it mean to you when you were inducted into the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame?
I thought it was cool because, a guy, a defenseman that doesn't score any points doesn't get inducted in any Hall of Fame. So, I thought it was pretty cool. And I didn't even realize they did that. And to see how important it was to the people and how professional they did it. And it was big time. And I enjoyed it. They treated me great. And, Colorado's my home and it means a lot to me, and it's important to my family and kids. And it's quite the honor.
That's what I was going to ask you is where are you living nowadays and what are you doing?
I live here in Colorado. We always come back. The kids were born here and got a lot of friends here. And we're lucky to win with the state. So there's a special bond there, I think.
Well, Adam, thank you for taking the time to join us today and reminisce about those days. Found out a few things we didn't know. I think it'll be very interesting to many that you wore a Colorado Rockies t-shirt at once.
I know. There's a Globe and Mail. I was like, I couldn't remember. Guys, I had no idea. I didn't tell the true story where we were, your last game, you're out, the whole team's out, you're out drinking, and I'm just like scrambling to get to the rink for a meeting, and it's the last day, and I just grab a t-shirt. It's wild that happened that way. And I had no idea till after that there was even talks about us even. I was a kid. I didn't even pay attention to that where it might be sold.
Well, thanks again. Hope you enjoyed coming on.
All right, guys. I did. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks. Well, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Pasta J's at 10th and Pearl Street in Boulder, CU Sports Medicine, the Colorado Collegiate Chronicle, produced by occasional co-host and executive producer Tim Soons, and Mark Johnson for introducing each moment's number.
We do hope you're enjoying our podcasts, 45 in all now. And a reminder that the Hall of Fame offers tours of its museum as well at Empower Field at Mile High.